This is Scott Alexander, and I'm here with Kris Compton, a professional investor and franchise owner with Homevestors, the number one home buyer in America. Specializing in Detroit metropolitan area and the suburbs, Kris closed as many as 20 deals last year and is looking to do even more business this year. Welcome, Kris. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thanks, Scott. How are you?
I'm doing well. So tell us a little bit about your background. How'd you get into real estate?
Well, I guess I had kind of always wanted to be in real estate, but I had a regular corporate job for a long time. But I eventually found myself a little bit burned out. I had a couple small kids and a husband that traveled all the time, and we decided that I would quit my job and stay home. And that's when I thought, well, this will be the perfect time for me to start real estate investing because you can really start off slowly in your own, you don't answer to anybody but yourself. And so I kind of I learned at first. I just spent most of my time just kind of learning, reading, maybe attending some meetings, buying a rental house here or there, maybe one or two deals a year. And then, my kids got off to school and I had more time on my hands and I felt like I had done a few deals and I knew enough and I jumped into the franchise and it was just kind of full steam ahead at that point.
That's my second question is what made you decide to work with Homevestors?
So I've been with Homevestors for 3 years. And for the past few years, as you know, the market's there's just not many houses out there on the market. I had a hard time finding deals. I was ready to do more deals, but I couldn't find them. And I would buy them from wholesalers, but a lot of times there's competition with wholesalers. And so you're not getting that great a deal, or to find a really good wholesaler and build a relationship with them, you need to, kind of buy a lot from them. And you need to be somebody they go to without advertising to their huge buyers list. And I hadn't established that kind of a relationship. So I just figured Homevestors, after talking to a few people at the home office, I interviewed a couple of franchisees that were already doing it. I realized it was going to kind of force me to jump in there. And it was also a very good way for me to get in front of the buyer rather than using the MLS or using a wholesaler. I actually go into homes and I talk to buyers one-on-one, and I buy directly from buyers. Sellers. Yes, sellers, sorry. So, there's less competition. I'm able to get better deals. I don't, have to pay a little bit higher to cover the markup of a wholesaler or deal with or compete with anybody else who's looking and using the MLS to find deals.
Yeah.
So
as far as your,
I'm
sorry, I was just going to say, as far as your personal preference, as far as what you buy, your target area, purchasing area, do you have any specific parts of the city that you're always looking for a deal in?
Well, we work as a group. We all have our own franchise, but we work together when it comes to marketing, and we target the 3 counties. And I like the cities that are kind of, I would call working class, good, solid neighborhoods. They're not too expensive, and they're not too much on the low end. The houses retail for probably anywhere between $100,000 and $200,000, and that's where I feel like we get a lot of our deals. Because they're good. People want to buy. There's a lot of buyers that can qualify for loans. The price point is good for landlords, so you can always sell your deal to a landlord. Or if you want to keep them, the cash flow is good at that price point as well. So that's where we target. And in the city is a little bit trickier. You have to kind of know the pockets that they're good and pockets that are bad, and that just takes time. And but that also, yeah, exactly.
So as far as Homevestors, I know they do, like you say, a ton of advertising. I think the most popular thing I've seen out is we buy ugly houses. So when you're meeting with a potential seller, what's your approach when it comes to making that connection and getting you to the closing table?
Well, you just remind them that being a Homevestor franchisee gives you some credibility, and you remind them that you've got, you are your own business. You're buying it individually. I have a home office that kind of backs you up and gives you all the support, and it's there to provide financing if I need it. There are tons of experienced people. It just kind of throws you into a network of people. You're all of a sudden in with a bunch of people that have been doing it for a lot longer than you. And then, now I find myself giving advice to some of the newer franchisees. But the fact that we have billboards and we have a huge internet presence and that we actually directly mail, we have a tagline. They say, oh, you're the We Buy Ugly Houses people. And we buy more houses than anybody else in the country. So it just gives you credibility. It gives sellers a feeling of confidence that you will follow through and you will get to the closing table, because they probably worry as well about whether this investor is, the real thing, or if they're going to actually be able to close, and where are they going to get the money, So,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, how quickly are you able to go from making an offer to closing a deal if all the numbers work?
Well, if all the numbers work and if there are no glitches, it can be as quick. I mean, we could do it in a week. I usually tell people 30 days. We do a title search and have an inspection. And sometimes there are some things that need to get ironed out. Maybe the inspection will, reveal something, and you may need to go back and negotiate a little bit. But if everything is smooth, it can be as quick as 5 to 7 days. I'd say I close most of my deals within 2 to 3 weeks. Of getting my offer accepted, because sometimes you make an offer and then they don't accept it for a little while. They think about it, and you need to follow up. But as soon as they sign the contract, it's usually, I'd say, 2 to 3 weeks. It can be as quick as a week.
Okay, well, that's quick. Now, wrapping up, what's a potential seller, like if you're a seller, what do you want them to know about working with you personally?
I mean, I always close my deals. I try to be very transparent. I try to be honest about everything. I try to tell them everything up front, what the cost will be. We pay most normal closing costs, which always is kind of an extra burden taken off the seller, because sometimes they're surprised by $200 for this and $200 for that. We pay all of that, so it's quick and it's easy, and it's usually painless.
Makes things more simple for the seller, it sounds like.
Yeah. I mean, exactly.
All right. Well, where can people find you online if you have a seller out there that's interested in reaching out to you?
Well, best way to reach out to me is my cell phone. My cell phone. Anybody can call me or text me at 313-936-0858. My email is Kris with a K, Kris .Compton, Compton, at homevestors.com, and I'm pretty responsive. Within a day, I should get back to you if I don't catch you when you're calling me right then.
Okay. Well, I really want to thank you again for taking time to speak with me. I'm positive we reached some folks today that will contact you and discuss that next step towards selling their home. So thank you.
Okay. All right. No problem, Scott. Have a good day.
You too.